All right, Steelers fans, before we jump into today's emotional update, let's start with this. This team is constantly working to get better, to fight harder, and to build something truly special here in Pittsburgh. Every week, it's about improving, adapting, and staying ready for whatever comes next. That's the Steelers way. So if you're proud of how this group continues to battle through adversity, hit that like button right now and show your support for the black and gold. Now, unfortunately, we've got some tough news out of Pittsburgh, and it involves one of the most respected leaders in that locker room. Coach Mike Tomlin confirmed that special teams captain Miles Killebrew has suffered a significant knee injury during Sunday's win over the Cleveland Browns. The news broke as the team prepared for a short week heading into their primetime matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Tomlin didn't sugarcoat it. Killebrew has officially been ruled out for the Thursday night game in Cincinnati, and the tone of his comments made it clear that this could be a longer-term absence. Quote, "He's our captain, but you guys know the motto we live by. We can certainly hurt for him as a man and as a teammate and a brother, and the individual. But from a football perspective, one man's misfortune is another man's opportunity, and we certainly have some capable people. There's an expectation that others step up and fill in the gaps." That's classic Mike Tomlin, firm, focused, and full of perspective. Still, losing Killebrew is a massive emotional and leadership blow for this team. The injury occurred in the second quarter of Sunday's game against the Browns, right after Chris Boswell nailed his third field goal of the first half to put Pittsburgh up 9-0. On the ensuing kickoff, Killebrew went down awkwardly on the coverage unit. Cameras caught him immediately clutching at his right knee before trainers rushed onto the field. The moment quickly turned emotional. Steelers players gathered around him, forming a circle as trainers worked. Even the Browns sideline showed respect. Eventually, Jabril Peppers and a team trainer helped Killebrew off the field. He was unable to put any weight on that leg. Moments later, he was carted to the locker room, visibly frustrated but surrounded by support from his teammates. Now, there's been plenty of talk about the field conditions at Acrisure Stadium, and this incident only fuels that discussion. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who had a strong outing in the win, spoke candidly about it in his post-game press conference. He didn't hold back when describing how quickly the field seemed to deteriorate. Quote, "I couldn't tell pregame, no. I just felt like it got real beat up. So by the time the third quarter rolled around, that thing was really beat up. So I feel bad about what happened to Miles." And Rodgers' words echoed what many players have felt over the years, that while grass fields are preferable to turf, poor maintenance can make them just as dangerous. Tomlin, however, kept things tight-lipped, saying he had no idea whether the field played a role in Killebrew's injury. Still, this issue is drawing attention again, especially since Acrisure Stadium hosts not only the Steelers, but also the University of Pittsburgh Panthers, leading to heavy field wear throughout the season. Reports have already confirmed that new sod is being installed before the team's next home game. But for Killebrew, that fix comes too late. And for those who may not fully grasp what Killebrew means to this team, let's be clear. He's not just another special teams player. Killebrew is a two-time Pro Bowler and was named first-team All-Pro in 2023. He's been the emotional anchor of Pittsburgh's special teams unit since joining the franchise 5 years ago. This season, before his injury, he'd already logged 81 special team snaps and 5 tackles, showing the same energy and leadership that earned him the captain's C on his jersey. He's the kind of player who does all the dirty work that doesn't always show up in highlight reels, covering kicks, setting the tone, and holding everyone accountable. That's why the reaction from the bench said everything. This was about more than just losing a player. It was about seeing a leader go down. But, as Tomlin reminded everyone, the standard is the standard. The Steelers will now look to guys like Miles Boykin, Mark Robinson, and rookie Nick Herbig to step up on special teams. These are players who've already flashed potential in different roles this season. And when you're wearing the black and gold, you know what's expected: effort, execution, and heart. This situation also highlights just how thin the Steelers are getting at certain depth positions. With Calvin Austin still nursing a shoulder injury, he also missed practice on Monday. The team will need its rotational players to stay healthy and sharp heading into this quick turnaround. As for the rest of the injury news, the good thing is that outside of Killebrew and Austin, the Steelers' report is fairly clean. Veterans like DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Rodgers, Darius Slay, TJ Watt, and Cameron Hayward were all given rest days on Monday. Nothing to panic about. Tomlin's managing his veterans carefully, especially with the Bengals game coming up on a short week. This Thursday night matchup will be critical. The Bengals are desperate to keep their season alive, while the Steelers want to keep stacking AFC North wins after dominating Cleveland. Without their special teams captain, the Steelers will need discipline and composure, especially on coverage units where one mistake can flip momentum instantly. What makes this injury sting even more is Killebrew's character. He's universally respected in the locker room. Players like Aaron Rodgers, TJ Watt, and Cameron Hayward all spoke after the game about how much Killebrew means to this team. He's the guy who's first in the building, last to leave, and always lifting others up. Losing that kind of voice, even temporarily, can be felt beyond the field. But if there's one thing we know about Miles Killebrew, it's that he'll attack his recovery with the same fire and discipline that made him an All-Pro in the first place. Head coach Mike Tomlin addressed the situation head-on earlier this week, and, as always, he didn't shy away from being direct. When asked about Freiermuth's limited role, Tomlin pushed back against the idea that something was wrong. Quote, "I think that is very reflective of the environment here. He's a good teammate. We're winning games and gaining cohesion." Translation, this isn't about frustration or favoritism. It's about team chemistry and sticking to the plan. Tomlin made it clear that this coaching staff is focused on scheme and matchup-based decisions, not on appeasing individual stat lines. When reporters asked why Freiermuth hasn't voiced frustration about his lack of targets, Tomlin gave an answer that really spoke volumes about the team's culture. Quote, "He's certainly capable. He knows his time is going to come to ante up and kick in. He better be ready. I am sure he will be. That's just how we go about our business." That right there is vintage Mike Tomlin, all about preparation, patience, and professionalism.
Now, it's easy to see why fans are puzzled. Just last year, Freiermuth signed a 4-year, $48.4 million extension that runs through the 2028 season. That's a major investment, and one that suggested he'd be a focal point in this offense for years to come. Yet, so far this season, he's technically started just one of the first 5 games. Offensive coordinator Arthur Smith has rotated personnel heavily, using 2 tight end sets and bringing in Jonnu Smith, who's familiar with his system, in various creative packages. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The Steelers are experimenting with balance, finding ways to use Washington's size and blocking, Hayward's versatility on special teams, and Jonnu's speed as a mismatch weapon. But when you have someone like Freiermuth, who can stretch the seam and dominate in the red zone, it's understandable that fans want to see more of him in those key moments. Behind the scenes, sources close to the team say that Freiermuth has handled the situation like a true professional. He hasn't complained, hasn't made noise about targets, and continues to grind every day in practice. That's the kind of attitude Tomlin loves, and one that helps keep the locker room unified. Remember, Freiermuth has always been a team-first guy. When the Steelers were reportedly in talks with Aaron Rodgers earlier this offseason, insiders revealed that Freiermuth was one of the most excited players in the locker room. He even reached out to Rodgers directly, encouraging him to come to Pittsburgh. That tells you all you need to know about his mindset. He wants to win. He wants to be part of something bigger. Still, it's fair to say he probably didn't expect to have just 11 targets through 5 games. And fans are right to wonder when the offense will start taking more advantage of his skill set, especially when you consider how much attention defenses are paying to guys like George Pickens and Jaylen Warren out of the backfield. When you've got those threats on the outside, the middle of the field starts to open up, and that's exactly where Freiermuth does his best work. Arthur Smith has hinted at adjustments coming soon. He knows Freiermuth can be a difference maker, particularly on 3rd downs and in red zone situations. The Steelers haven't fully unlocked that part of the offense yet, and it's something they'll likely need to develop as the season progresses. And let's not forget, it's still early. 5 games into a season isn't enough time to define anyone's role permanently. The Steelers are 3-2, showing flashes of real potential. And if this offense keeps trending upward, Freiermuth could easily become a big part of that surge. Tomlin's comments make one thing clear. They trust Pat Freiermuth. They know his moment is coming, and when it does, they expect him to be ready to deliver. So, Steelers fans, this one hurts. Losing a captain like Miles Killebrew isn't just a personnel loss, it's an emotional one. But this team's identity is built on resilience. From the next man up mentality to the leadership of veterans like Rodgers and Watt, the Steelers have what it takes to overcome this setback. Still, it raises some big questions. Should the Steelers be more proactive in addressing the field conditions at Acrisure Stadium? And more importantly, who do you think should step up to fill that leadership gap on special teams while Killebrew recovers? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from every member of Steelers Nation. And before you go, don't forget, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our exclusive Steelers updates and breakdowns. This is Pittsburgh football, built on toughness, unity, and heart. And no matter the injuries, this team's going to keep fighting.